I do.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we'll get you a quote for, what do you think? I said, well, how about $100,000? And she came back, and it was something, it was more than $6, but it wasn't more than 15. So I was like, just
the word is, yeah. But every client tends to ask about that. We don't have other structures here. Why is that? It's all a formula-based, part of the, what you're buying versus anything else.
Here's an example of the heirs in San Jose, California, who I reviewed recently. They have a separate house that we just saw that they have insured for $425,000, and it's actually worth $775 to build. It's a big gap. Big gap. Dan identified that, and I'm going to go back to the heirs and say he can't move you, but you should go back to AIG Private Client Group and get the pool house, is what it's called, garage/pool house. You've got to have that increase. So we're going to get bonus points for that, even though Dan can't save them any money. It actually costs them more money, right? Because it's going to increase their premium slightly. So it's just stuff like that that you can always turn into a win-win situation when that happens.
Some of the policies out there, the high-value, especially if you have high deductible, type, pretty healthy premiums, have a total loss kind of deductible waiver, which is, I think,
it's kind of like a game. You're like, sorry this happened. You sucks, but
yeah,
you don't have to pay your deductible. So it's just, I think the insurance company's goodwill.
Yeah, it's better to have them say that versus the reality of how often that would happen. So it's worth it in the grand scheme. So, but you'll see more and more of that. Some people, some of the higher end type carriers, it makes more sense. Auto, any other homeowners insurance questions or things that people have come across? Auto, bodily injury, I think it's always important. The typical, is it 125, 250, or 100, you should always look for, in my opinion, 250,000 and 500,000 of total coverage on the bodily injury type of liability. I think that's important.
What if they have an umbrella policy that covers, so Jansen has 100,000 and 300,000, but then their umbrella covers starting after.
Umbrella won't cover bodily injury.
It won't?
Just liability.
Just
liability. And we'll get to it in a second, but you really got to read your personal umbrella liability coverage detail, because I bet there's been 4 or 5 instances in my career that I've seen where it doesn't match up. You have a gap between the liability on the auto relative to then where the personal umbrella liability would come in.
Okay.
And it's just lazy, quick moving. This is only $150 at the time, or $200 per million type of umbrella coverage. Just slap it on, and don't want to have the conversation about this also increases your auto rates, because you need those liability levels and numbers to increase higher. So.
Did that gap come from using 2 different carriers, or is it one carrier?
I've seen it in the same carrier, which is mind-boggling.
That would be a reason to replace the agent. And again, that's one of those things that we all can do, right? So again, USA policy, look at it and see. Look at the PUL, what they say the underlying needs to be in the home and the auto. Go look at the home and auto. Are they consistent? And you'd be surprised. I had that happen with Katz Alves, Debbie Katz Alves out in California. And they were in L.A. And it was all with